Hello and welcome to John's Author Diary for the week ending the 4th of February 2018. This show's coming out a day late because I have had a crazy couple of weeks. I've been so busy and now I am really tired. When I recorded the show last week, I was on guide dog training. I finished that on Wednesday, spent a day at home, and then I was on a plane to London to go to the 20 Books London conference, which is a conference for independent authors like myself. Now, I had a really good time at that conference. I met a lot of people who I've been speaking to for a while on Facebook, people who before now have just been names, have just been pictures, have just been voices on podcasts and things like that. So it's a really great opportunity for me to meet these people in person. And it was great to find out that some of them actually listened to the podcast and spoke to me about this. So I want to say a quick hi to Paul Teague and to Claire Sager, who both said that they enjoy listening to me rambling on. Paul is a science fiction and thriller author. He's got a thriller called Don't Tell Meg, which I believe is doing well and has got a lot of good reviews. Personally, I don't read thrillers, so I wouldn't be able to recommend that, but I would recommend his novel The Grid, which is a science fiction novel, so I would check that out. Claire Sager, she's a historical fantasy author, and so I talked to her about some of my fantasy writing, and she mentioned that she's interested in maybe starting her own podcast. So if you're interested in listening to authors talk about their lives and their work, as soon as she starts doing that, I will let you guys know. It's now the Monday after the conference and I'd booked my flights and my travel. So I got a plane from Heathrow to Manchester and then booked a train back from Manchester to Morecambe. I found out about an hour before I was going to set off that all the trains from Manchester had been cancelled, that there was engineering work on the line, and it was okay. There was replacement buses. The last replacement bus was at 7 o'clock in the evening. My flight was at 10 to 8, so that didn't help. So basically, I had to scramble, and it ended up that my wife drove on a 140-mile round trip to pick me up from the airport. So what a complete star. As regards writing, I think I've been putting it off long enough to say this, but I hate to admit that I haven't done any writing in the past week. I've been so tired with everything that's going on and really busy. I did manage to outline a novella that I'm writing collaboratively with Lynn Sheridan and Killian Carter, and this is going to be a kind of space marine story, so I'm really looking forward to writing that. I've outlined my bit, and I think the way we're going to do it is I'm going to write one point of view, Lynn's going to write another, and then Killian's going to come in and do the edits and improvements and add in some more humour, because it's going to be a kind of humorous Space Marine story. As regards my guide dog Digit, I'm happy to say that he is now qualified as a guide dog as of today. So I had guide dogs come around my house this morning and we did probably about a 2-mile route, 2.5 miles, something like that. And when we finished, they let me keep the harness. I had to buy the dog off guide dogs for a nominal fee, so I had to give them a 50p so that Digit is mine. So now that he's qualified, what will happen is they'll come back over the next few days. I think they're coming back on Wednesday and Friday. And we're going to practice some different routes in the area. And I think on next Monday, we're going to go to our local vets and get him accustomed to visiting there and just get him to have a checkup and things like that. So it's a long, drawn-out process, if I'm honest. I'm just really looking forward to getting back to my normal routine, because the guide dog training, I mean, that nearly went on for 2 weeks. And then the trip to London, I've essentially spent a fortnight in a hotel. And this might sound glamorous, but it soon gets tiring. I think I mentioned last week that I thought I'd be finished with Brandon Sanderson's Words of Radiance, the second book in his Stormlight archive, and I'm nearly there. I've got about 8 hours left to listen to. It's such a long audio book, and what with keeping up with my Ray Bradbury challenge as well of reading a short story, a poem and an essay every day, everything else kind of got in the way. So I've got this week now to kind of regroup, and then I've got a scheduled week off anyway because of it being half term and my son being at home and my wife being off work. So it's going to be a bit iffy in terms of word count, I think, for the next few weeks. But I am going to try and keep things ticking over, aim to write at least a scene a day if I can. A main task that I need to do is I've received the audio back for King of the Wasteland, which is the third book in my Wasteland series. And so I've already listened to the first 4 chapters just to check if there's any mistakes, that it matches the text, because when you submit it to Amazon, it needs to be matching the text, so you can use the Whisper Sync function if you're reading it on Kindle as well. So that's going to take a few hours to do. Again, I think Ian Coleman's done a really good job on the narration, and I think as a performer, he seems to be getting better with each book he does of mine. So over the next week, I have got 3 more scenes to write for the first draft of the Black Death trilogy, so I'm nearly there with that. If I can do that, I'll be happy. I also want to carry on Blind Gambit now, because this book has been hanging over me for months. It's been difficult to write because a lot of the emotion and a lot of the storyline is a bit close to home. It's quite raw, and so it's a lot slower than, you know, some of the post-apocalyptic stuff that I'm doing, which is a bit more fun and a bit less personal. So I've still not checked my email as to whether I've got any questions, so I do apologise if they're sitting in the inbox. I will get to them. If you've got a question, please send it to john@johncronshaw.com. You can also find me on Twitter. It's at JLCronshaw. And I'm on Facebook. It's facebook.com/JohnCronshawAuthor. Now, if you've not read any of my books yet, you can get a copy of the prequel to my Wasteland series for free. Go to tinyurl.com/getmyprequel, and I've got it set up so it'll send it directly to your inbox. So until next time, cheerio.